I've made it to the job site here, and I've already kind of started laying out the lines around the foundation. It's already staked out, so I'm not having to worry about that. It's already been laid out by a guy that came and done that. And I've got to run some string on some of the longer lines to be able to paint those and get those accurate and straight. But that's where I am for now. So you see these lines I've already marked. I've got the front marked. These little short runs are easy to mark out without a string, but those longer ones are not. I'll also put a house plan site on the video so you can see the house site. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the drone up in the air and cover this with the drone while I'm laying these strings out and marking these lines. Saw there in the drone video, I got that laid off now. Got all my exterior lines marked. There is a couple of load bearing walls that's got to go. I think the one of them's going right through there, and then the other one is going right through here. But the owner's coming to show me exactly where those load bearing walls are and where those need to be dug out. This footer is going to be 24 inches wide and 12 inches deep. And let's go down here and get the equipment off of the trailer. Get started digging. All right, we are ready to get started now. The property owner's here, and we marked off the load bearing walls. Now got those figured out. That load bearing wall comes across here. There's one there, and then a little bit of work right there that we added to digging the footers out. So we're ready. We also discussed the depth of the footer situation, and what we decided is this being our low point, 4 inches lower, as I mentioned, than the rest of the footers. Here, we're going to come right here and set a benchmark, and then we're 12 inches deep right here. There's places that'll be 16 inches deep, places that'll be 17 inches deep, just because the change in elevation within the pad. But that way they don't have to form right here, and the way that he's going to do his blocks, that'll work out better. It actually will save him some rock to backfill this with, so that's going to work out pretty good. We'll get the 304 fired up, and as usual, in a layout like this, it's always difficult to kind of figure out where to start, where you're going to put your dirt, which walls you're going to do next. So anyway, that's to be figured out as we go, but we'll get started on this. All right, we are ready to get started now. I'm down here at this low point that I mentioned. What I'm first going to do is put my bucket down there where that mark is, just like that, right there. So now then, that's my benchmark. I come in here to the machine, I'm going to hit this quick button right here, hit that. It's going to say, okay, bench, elevation, success. So that is what we're going to set for our bench. And now then what we're going to do in here is go in and set a offset. We're going to do a 12-inch offset because we want those footers to be a foot deep. So you go in here because you're going to go down, you want to hit the negative. So negative 12. Oh, I don't know what happened there. Stand by. What happened? Now then, we're back in where we're supposed to be. So, now then back here, we're going to go negative 12.0 inches. Hit the check mark. Now then, we're showing negative 12 inches. And we're going to use the center part of our bucket as our location where it marks it. You can either use the left tooth, the right tooth, or the center. So we're going to use the center. You hit apply, and now then it shows us these red marks here is how far we are from elevation. If you also see that bucket lifted up off of the green line as our benchmark, then you got a side profile of that. Now then what we want to do is, because the laser is set up right over there, we want to raise this up. We're going to swing the machine over here so that we can dip the laser catcher down into that laser beam. And what that does, and you'll see just in a second when I hit it, alright, so it says laser strike auto accepted. Now then what that tells me is this machine knows that that laser setting over there is my standard. That's my benchmark for this whole job. Each time you move the machine, you dip the laser catcher back into that laser beam, and it tells the computer that you've changed the elevation based off of that laser. So now then, we're going to go over here where I'm going to start at, and we'll get to digging this. I'm going to set you outside the machine where the tripod is right there, and we'll get started digging. All right, we should be set up to dig, and the first thing I like to do is put my bucket out there where I'm going to start, and I want to pull in to make sure that I'm lined up on the paint marks, and I am, so we are good to go. That messed up. I didn't dip down in the laser. So I've moved. I'm going to dip down into the laser. Auto strike accepted. We're good to go. Okay, there's the first one. We got that first leg of that footer dug right there, and we got a bunch more to go. So I'll check back in with you in just a little while to get some more of this dug out, and probably put the drone up here in a little while and watch a little bit of digging through the drone and see what we can get done today. A little bit of update now. This is the first one I dug down through here, and I dug this wall across through here, and then I have dug down to where I am right there. So I want to stop for just a minute and explain kind of how I'm digging this out and placing dirt. I'm trying my best to find places outside of the perimeter of the footers to put my dirt so that I don't have to cross over in here and mess up my lines or try to figure out how to get the dirt out after I get all the footers dug. So that being said, I've come to a part right here where this is the back wall offset from here. What I did is dug straight through that, and now then I can come down from that line and hook into here and go that way, throw all that dirt out to that side. And then I've come down to another wall here, which is the side garage wall, which cuts back that way. My plan is for that is to stop right there, not dig through this line, and then move into here, dig this line back over to here, throwing the dirt into the garage, because there's not a footer going to be dug right there where the garage door is. So I come in here and get this dirt, which works out real well. Once I dig that line back to here to connect to that, then I will come down here to this side and continue on with that ditch and bring it down to here. And then I would come in from that way to come in here. I said all that to say this. I know that's a little bit confusing, but as you're digging this out, you figure out, okay, I need to stop here, I need to pick this line up, dig that line out, and then come back this line. So it's kind of like a maze to make this thing work out. And you do it as you go, or I do, because I, try to plan this out in my head before I start digging. It would just be confusion. There we are. We're going to dig that line out. I'm going to put you inside the cab for just a few minutes for this line here, I suppose, and then we'll go back to some time lapse and some drone here in a little while. So here I'm digging this line out, and you see I'm turning to my left, and that way I'm throwing the dirt into the garage. And I know it's inside my outside perimeter walls, but there's no, I can come in here and get it without crossing over my footings. That's the hardest part of digging footers, is planning where your dirt's going to go and how you're going to dig them. This dirt right here is digging really, really nicely. I did get into a little bit of rock there just a few minutes off camera, and it was, man, it was rocky. You hear that tone in the background? That's what I listen to all day long, actually. And that tone tells me what I'm supposed to be doing. That's what I'm looking for, that solid tone. That's what I'm looking for. If the tone is slow, that means I'm too low. If the tone is fast, then that means I'm too high. So what I like to do when I get close is put my bucket extended out like that right there, listen for that solid tone, and pull grade right there. So as I'm pulling the stick in, I'm rolling the bucket down to keep those teeth right on grade. Just like that. Now then, I need to move back so I can reach some more. So I'm going to simply just roll the machine back, drop the blade, pull my teeth in to make sure I'm going to remain on the line, and I'm not. So I'm going to put my bucket down, spin the machine just ever so slightly, and now then check that again. Yep, now I can pull that line. Dip back down into the laser. Got it. Now we're ready to dig. And what I've shown you today and what I'm using is a 2D grade system. If this was a 3D GPS system, I wouldn't have to dip down into that laser, and I also wouldn't have to keep up with my lines, because that would already be programmed into the computer. I would just follow the computer at that point. The computer tells me exactly where I am, what line I'm digging, and keeps up with the depth of it. But that system is very expensive compared to what the system is that I have. And really, I mean, I don't do jobs that are typically engineered, that there's an engineered drawing for, that you would have the ability to plug those plans into the computer. I generally do jobs like this. The footers are laid out and I come dig them. And also what I like to do as I'm going is keep the sides of the ditch clean. And I do that, and a lot of other people do it as well, because when your concrete guys are up here walking around or whatever, they're not knocking dirt into the footers that are already clean. So you just kind of side swipe that with your bucket and keep those ditches clean on both sides. Just like that. Keeps it nice and clean. Then you just set your bucket back down in there on grade. Pull it all the way through. come back in here and pull that load bearing wall all the way through. Dip down the laser. Laser accepted, and I'm not far enough in. A little bit more. Hit the laser again. Got it. Off and digging. And when you're trying to connect a corner like that, you really only want to take off just a little bit of dirt at a time, because if you try to take off too much, you'll break that corner off. I'm not saying it won't happen taking a little bit of dirt, but well, it broke off right there. But there's nothing you can do about that, really. You just try to do your best and try to take a little bit of dirt. Okay, so that is how that I do those, connect those corners like that. We'll get a little bit more done and be back in a little while. All right, we're making some good progress now. I got about half of it done. Most of it with all those little hard turns are done. Now then we'll get these corners cleaned out, take the skid steer, clean up what dirt piles I've got now, and then work on the rest of it. That was a hot job. I'm glad that's done for now. All right. Got those corners shoveled out. We'll get the skid steer out and get some of this dirt moved. We'll throw the drone up in there and get some of that on the drone and out of breath. And we'll get back to digging footers in a minute. We'll take a look now at where we are at the end of day one. We got everything done, all the perimeter dug and the load bearing walls dug. The only thing I like is a little bit of area right there where the excavator is. There's just like a little jotted out area right there. And that'll be all I've got to do in the morning to finish up the footers. And I would stick around to take care of that and get all this dirt moved and load the trailer up and leave, but there's actually a couple little add-on jobs that we talked about today, making a little spot for the RV camper, making a little spot for a storage container. So because of that, that'll take me a little bit of time to do those as well. So probably got 3/4 of a day of work to do tomorrow. So we're gonna knock off for today, and I'll see y'all in the morning. Good morning, I'm back for the second day to get this job underway. And first things first, I gotta get some bug spray on. These mosquitoes are tearing me up, and I just got out of the truck. So we'll get that taken care of, get those mosquitoes off of me, and we're going to start cleaning out corners. While it's still cool and not hot, I'm gonna do the same thing I did yesterday, is come in here and clean this loose material out of these corners, and that won't take too long. I'll get that done, and then I think we'll go ahead and move dirt this morning and get all this dirt out of the way that I dug out yesterday evening, and then got just a little bit more footer going this way. That way zigzags a little bit and then comes back in behind the excavator. So that's about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, get that cleaned up and get the dirt moved. And then we'll have that done. Let's look at the other couple little add-on projects that we're going to do while we're here. So the property owner wants to take that RV right there and put it over here. And he had a temporary service put in here by his transformer yesterday. So I'm going to make a little bit of an RV pad right here. It was so steep. Somebody came in and did a little bit of work for him, but just want to dress that up a little bit, make that a little bit more level, so he gets RV in there. In the second little add-on project we're going to do is he had this area right here flattened out for a storage shelter, and it's not really wide enough. This needs to be 12 foot wide width of the ability to walk around on both sides of it. So we measured that's like 9 feet where it is now. What I'll do is come in here and take some more out, take this dirt from this side and put over here. So I'll make this 3 foot wider here, add a couple feet to that, and that'll be, what, 14 feet wide. And I may actually add a little bit more on this side, make some walking room. But this probably won't take long either, just to dig that out and move that dirt over, make him a place for his shelter there. Well, that is the agenda for today. Let's get started. The machine's warming up. We'll get this dirt cleaned out of these corners and move on. Start digging now, and I'm gonna reach over here, and this is my benchmark I've been using for the whole project. Touch down right there, get us a benchmark, got that set now, and we will set our offset of 12 inches. All right, we are good to go. Offset of 12 inches. We'll dig that line right there where I got the camera set up, then we'll do the line in front of the house. Well, these footers are almost done. I'm down to the last section right here, and I'll show you two things. One is the way this foundation is, it comes down through there and it jogs in a little bit and comes back out. Those are hard to do and get them to look clean. The edges keep falling in or whatever, but anyway, I've got enough room in there for the concrete. It doesn't look necessarily good because it's so difficult to try to dig those out. The second thing I want to point out is bringing one line into another line, or one footer into another footer. So what I did was I dug this down to a certain point and stopped and left myself room, this little section right here, left myself room for the machine to go in there to start digging this out and dig it all the way out to here. So what that allows you to do is you're not crossing over your ditches and collapsing and caving them in. So now then what I'll do is I'll set up on that side of the ditch and then pull this ditch into that one, and that way you're not crossing over anything. And like I mentioned, collapsing ditches, whatever. That's how I do it. That's how I join my footers when I come together like this. So let's finish this up, and then we got those other two little things to do. Now then, I got that footer connected right there. Got a little bit of shovel work. Actually, I got more shovel work than I really wanted. but that's it. And then a little bit of shovel work in that corner, moving this dirt pile down in this area here and finish grade on that. And then we're going to work on the RV pad and the container pad. So we'll be back in just a minute, finish this up. Okay. Is that plenty wide enough? All right. He gives us the thumbs up. We got this one done. Let's go do the RV pad. Got the RV pad done. At some point the camera died. I'm not sure when at the time I'm recording this. I'll figure out when I'm editing it, but the battery died. But we got this RV pad built now, leveled out and sloped so water run away. And now that he can put his camper in here and start spending the night. What do you think about the job?
Thank you, Sam. You did an awesome job. It looks really good.
All right, I think he's pleased with it, and got all the pad work done, the footers are done, and this will take care of it. So I appreciate you watching. God bless. Stick around for the message. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video there, and I titled the name of this video, Are House Footers Really That Important? And I'd say if you talk to a fellow building a house, I'd say he would tell you that they're very important. There's really two important parts to the house. One is the foundation, making sure you get a properly dug foundation for the house and get that poured properly for the concrete. The second, probably equally important, is the roof. If you don't have a good foundation, the house is going to be have problems. If you don't have a good roof, you can't keep the rain out, and the rain will destroy the house. But what I want to talk about today is the foundation and how important that really is. But before we get into the message, I want to mention a new hat I got this in the mail. So Lance, I appreciate that, from Honeycuts Brush and More. He has a YouTube channel where he does brush cutting. And along with that hat came a very encouraging letter. So Lance, I appreciate the words that you spoke in that letter and how it encouraged me, and thankful to know that the messages that are in the end of these videos are a blessing to you and so many other people. I get messages a lot about how thankful and appreciative people are for these messages at the end of the videos. So I really appreciate that. It means a lot to me to hear that back, and it truly encourages me to keep going and pushing forward with these kind of messages. Also, it has been really hot today. My goodness, it's been hot. This is Saturday. I did this job that you just saw back earlier in the week, and man, it has been a hot week. So I've been working on the 308. I'm actually sitting on it now for this message, and this is probably the last video. There may be one more video of the 308 on the channel. I've actually sold this machine to a guy up in Missouri named Lee, and if you're familiar with Brandon with Elite Earthworks and Larry from Dirt Daddy 953, Lee lives right there between both of them. 30 minutes, I think, from Brandon or so, and next town over from Larry from Dirt Daddy. So anyway, actually he's been on Dirt Daddy's channel. He's got a skid steer, Lee does, and he's been on Larry's channel there a couple times on Dirt Daddy. You might see this again. I don't know. You might see it on Dirt Daddy's channel or up that way. So I know he's excited for it. And Lee has two daughters, Josie and Amelia, and from what I hear, Josie is she's a fan of Tristar Diggin, 5 years old, and I think Lee's family's coming with him on Monday to pick up the machine and try it out. Probably gonna work a couple days with it on a job that I want to help him with. But anyway, Josie, I really appreciate you watching the channel, and I will see you on Monday. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to meeting you. So, like I said, 308's on its way out, been replaced by the 313, and you've seen those videos already. And I've got some videos coming up 313 shortly, probably next weekend. So anyway, let's get back into the message, and what I want to talk about is the foundation. Having a foundation that's grounded and built upon Jesus Christ. Without that firm foundation upon Jesus Christ, the rock as the word would call it, then when troubles and trials come into our life, the wind's blowing and the rain's coming down hard and it beats upon the house, if you don't have a good foundation and a good roof, that house is going to fall and fail. So I want to read to you a few passages of scripture and talk about them, and you'll find these in Luke chapter 6 verse 46. He says, "But why do you call me Lord, Lord, and do not do the things which I say? Whoever comes to me and hears my sayings and does them, I will show you whom he is like. He is like a man building a house who dug deep." That's talking about the foundation. "Who dug deep and laid the foundation upon the rock. And when the floods arose, the streams beat vehemently against the house, and they could not be shaken, for it was founded on the rock." Now listen, verse 49. "But he who heard and did nothing is like a man who built a house on the earth without a foundation, against which the streams beat vehemently, and immediately it fell. The ruin of that house was great." Now there's two different people speaking about there. One is the person who hears the word of God, who trusts in it, who has their house of faith, the believing in Jesus Christ, has their house of faith built upon the rock, which is Jesus Christ. So when those storms come, we trust in Jesus, we trust in God to see us through those storms of life, and we go safely through those because we are grounded upon the truth of Jesus Christ. The second man there talking about is people who have say Lord, Lord in the troubled times of their life, or they claim to know Jesus Christ, or they claim that they're a Christian and following Jesus Christ, but the word says hears but does nothing about it. They're not applying the word of God. They're not applying that to their life and allowing that to change them and mold them and make them as what the word would call it, into the image of Jesus Christ. Two people talked about there. One who builds their house upon the rock, Jesus Christ, and one who builds their house upon the earth without a good foundation. That man's house will fail. So any kind of claim of faith and belief in Jesus Christ is going to struggle, fall, and fail because it's not grounded on the truth of Jesus Christ. So I simply want to end this by reading a statement that I found on the internet talking about this. And it says, "Jesus is our firm foundation. He is our rock. When we build our foundation on the truth of Jesus and who he is, then we are on unshakable ground." So that begs a question, and I want to ask that question before we close. Are you on unshakable ground? Or does, when the winds and the waves and the storms in your life, they come and beat upon you, do you falter and fail and struggle to know where your help's from? But your help comes from the Lord. I hope that you're a Christian. I hope that you're believing in Jesus Christ, and he is your firm foundation. If he's not, that's the most important decision you can ever make in your life, is to trust in him for the forgiveness of your sin, so that your home is eternal, as the word would say. Your home is eternal in the heavens. So God bless you, and I appreciate you watching.